Hey, good morning. How y'all doing? It's Well Red Beard. It's a damn fine day to talk about a book, and today we are here for a book review. We're going to talk about Faces Beyond the Veil by Mitch Sebourn. And this is a collection of short fiction, short stories. There are 15 stories, I believe, in this book. All the shorts on shorts are up, so check it out if you want to get a little bit about each story. You know, the shorts on shorts are generally under 2 minutes long, so if you want to spend 30 minutes with me, I guess you could watch 15 shorts on shorts about the stories in this book. You probably should. You should do that. Anyway, if you're here, click like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let's talk about these books. So this is Faces Beyond the Veil. I really enjoyed this collection. I think I'm going to go 4.5 and round it up to 5 stars, uh, because I'm a big fan of Mitch's work. Mitch's work is always like sharp and quick witted and very very well written. And the funny thing is I know that he does, or at least he used to do, all his own editing, and the books are super clean. There's a very noticeable polish on the shit that he puts out. This is my third read from Mitch. I started with Flying Saucer. I really crazy enjoyed this book. I gave it 4 stars. I think it was my surprise book of like 2019, because when I read this one, I didn't know Mitch, and Mitch, I didn't see a lot of people in the horror circle talking about him. Now I think he's kind of found his way into that, and which is cool because he belongs there. His shit is really, really good. And then I did Dust and Time, which this book's very horrific, but doesn't really look like it, right? This book is, kind of sold as a horror novel, so I was very interested in getting into this one. I enjoyed this one too. I want to say I gave this one 4 as well. I may be wrong, but so I'm 4 stars on both of his pieces of long fiction that I've read, and this one we're gonna make sure it gets 5 stars. I'm probably at 4.5. Look, it's a collection, so it's you judge collections a little bit different. I mean, because you're never gonna love every single story in a collection, but for this one, I really crazy liked the vast majority of them, and I love some of them, and so we're gonna make sure that this book gets the 5 star mark on Goodreads. It will, it'll be in conversations at the end of the year for my favorite short story collection, because when I go back to wrap that up, I normally will only have a handful that have been given 5 stars. Usually less than a handful, a couple, whatever. So, but the stories in this, we want to talk about my favorites. The thing that it's a very very wide mix of stuff. There is a bit of ghost horror, possession horror, kind of almost like there's a lot of art in here. Like some of the stories deal with paintings and a bit of possession or ghosty haunting stuff. Based out of that, there's some mountain climbing stuff, which I know Sebourn enjoys that, does that. I'm a big fan of that. I'm a big fan of mountain climbing fiction and nonfiction for whatever reason, because I don't climb, but I mean, ever since Crack Hours Into Thin Air, I'm just a sucker for like an Everest story or something similar to that. But again, 15 stories. I have chosen my top 4, and we'll try to briefly talk about those. Again, all the shorts on shorts are up. But just great. It's great. If you're going to get out of here, if you don't want to listen to me talk about individual stories, this book's really really good. You got to check it out. And I think that if you read this one, you'll be like, oh shit, I need more. And you get maybe into some of his novels based off that. But hold on. Not doing very well grabbing books, but anyway, big fan. So number 4. Now this is weird for me because I read a lot of these stories back in November, and then I took a break, and then I came back and got back into them in January. So when I went back to the shorts on shorts to kind of pick my favorites, some of these were not super fresh in my head, but I do remember like really liking the opening stories, The Lie, Refinery, Cactus Glass, The Revocation. Those are the first 4 stories in the book. I know that I really like those, but I read those a while back. The funny thing about this one is like a lot of times I'll read like a first story and I'll really like it, and if I make it through the next 15, I still always seem to come back to the first one, at least as one of my top four. In this particular book, like the seventh, eighth, ninth, and 10th stories in this book, I think that's right. That might not be right. It's close. It's anyway. There's a chunk of stories in the middle that are my top four, and they're back to back to back, kind of like in reverse order. So let's talk about these. My number four story in this book is Bleak, and a young journalist goes out to visit this famous small town local painter. Like, he's cemented himself into local folklore, just kind of like the weird old artist guy. And he goes to this shed out in the woods, and just paintings everywhere, canvases everywhere. And this guy's, he's interviewing him, and he asks him, and he said, well, what's the best thing you ever painted? And he said, I painted my wife's death portrait. And he said, it's right up there in the house. And so there's this trail like through the woods that goes to the house, and the house appears to be unlived in. I mean, the artist, has moved all of his shit out to the garage, all of his clothes and books and furniture, and the house is completely empty and full of dust and decay, and it's just become a decrepit old place, except for the painting in the reading room, his wife's death portrait that he has titled Bleak. And that's enough information, but it's a very, very cool ghosty story. So a ghost story. My third favorite in here, jump one story ahead here in the table of contents, is Feral. And I know I opened my shorts on shorts here with what the fuck, Mitch? It's just a vile, vicious story. It's about two guys, two detectives, two cops. They one of them's daughter went missing. Like, I can't remember if it was 15 years ago or it was a while back, and so much so. I may be wrong about that too. Hell, it has been a while since I've read some of these, but so much so that they both retired. Like, it was, kind of a situation where they tried and tried and tried to solve this case, tried and tried to find this guy's daughter, and they couldn't, and it basically just dead-ended them into retirement. And but our main character says, I'll never stop looking for this and that. And he's out hunting hogs, and they come across this hog that appears to have found and dug up the last or the resting place of this girl. I mean, the hog's got a piece of scalp with long blonde hair in its mouth, and but the ending on this one is just fucking wild. I mean, just absolutely shocking, and probably one of the more extreme moments in this book, I think. But anyway, my number three favorite story in this book is Feral. My number two favorite story in this book is Mariana, and she is a survivor of an event that happened in 1988 during the Hunter's Moon in her hometown. And the Hunter's Moon has only happened once in the last 50 years on Halloween of 1988 when this event happened, and it's getting ready to happen again on this, so she's gone on and gotten married, and our main character is kind of her husband, and he remembers, like, on the eve of his wedding, or on his wedding night, his new mother-in-law told him to take extra care with Mariana, especially in October. So to keep an eye out for her, especially in October. But, it's the town where this happened, her hometown. I mean, like, when this happened, it's just kind of gone to shit. And I mean, no places of business, no industry, but even like the roads in and out of the place have just been let go. There's not much left there, not much of a reason to go back there, but of course we're going to go back there, and it's just a cool story, a cool haunting. Three missing girls from 1988, and our main character is the only survivor. So that's about all I'll get on that one, you'll get on that one. But that's my second favorite story is Mariana. My first, and if you watch the shorts on shorts, you probably know this. It's the Apostle. And the Apostle it's not biblical demonic, horror like it sounds. The Apostle is a mountain, and our main character, this girl, she's bought this place to live and open a business in, and it was the home of this like famous mountain climber slash artist, and the Apostle is the peak that beat him. And he got really, really badly injured on this mountain, and he's taken a wall of this place and painted this mural of this mountain, the Apostle. And I mean, you can almost feel the cold wind coming off of it, and there's just there's a lot to the painting. I don't really want to go into it too much, but she tries to get rid of it, and it keeps coming back. I mean, sands it down almost to the drywall, and it keeps coming back. And it's another like crazy cool haunting story with a lot of, again, mountain climbing elements that I can't explain why, but I'm like hyper into. So it's the Apostle. So I've talked for a bit on this. Normally these reviews don't last too long, since I've already done all the shorts on shorts, so I don't want to keep you too long. But this is Faces Beyond the Veil. It is a great, fabulous short story collection. I'm a huge fan of Sebourn's work. I mean, eventually I'll read it all. I've got one more here somewhere, and I'm not sure if it's a novel or a collection. But I'll be getting into it in the first half of this year for sure. A lot of books to read, but it's going to be 4.5 for me. I'm going to round it to 5 on Goodreads, but you got to check him out. Check out his work. Loved Flying Saucer. There's another story in here I do want to mention that it was probably my 5th favorite story, and it was right in line with the others. But it was called The Loneliest Road, and it was about a mother and a son. She's like a musician, like a small town famous maybe musician. She gets this gig at this called like the Loneliest Festival. Feels like this desert, small scale Woodstock type scenario, but cool bits about a guitar and guitar strings, which kind of brought me back around to an element of this book. But anyway, the point I was trying to make was check out Mitch, check out his work. Definitely worth your time. Definitely one of my higher rated small scale independent small press horror authors that I've come across since I've been doing this. So Faces Beyond the Veil, appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you're enjoying all your books as much as I am. If not, you're reading the wrong damn books.